Well, good morning, everybody. This is Charles Owen from Paladin. I had a little trouble dialing in today. I hope you didn't have those same troubles. Looks like we've got a number of you on the line right now, so you probably had more success than I did. But we're here now. We'll kick this thing off. So again, my name is Charles Owen from Paladin. Welcome to the Paladin University, and this is an opportunity for you to see what's new in the Paladin system, and I really appreciate the fact that you're here. Spend some time today. We're going to be about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. There's lots of material to cover. First, I want to make sure that you can hear me and see my screen that says what's new in Paladin, and if you wouldn't mind just raising your hand up real quick, and you want to be, thank you, Brian, I got it, okay, and everybody else, thank you, appreciate it. That's good. So it's good when you can hear me and you can see my presentation. That's what it's all about. Believe me, I've done it before where we didn't have all of those necessary things that are required for a webinar. But today it looks like we're in good shape. So this will be recorded. It is being recorded right now. We will be able to have this up on the website probably later today or tomorrow morning. So if you get interrupted, customers come first. Definitely take your time. Spend the time you need with your customer. Come back, in and out. That's fine. But if you want to share this and or watch it again, you can always do it on the Paladin portal site. So again, I do appreciate your time. The fact that you're here and you're eager to learn tells me that you're successful, tells me that you are interested in doing those things in your store that help you grow, and not only grow in technology, but grow in your actual store with the number of customers you have and that sort of thing. So that's what it's all about. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We do have lots of material to cover. So starting with what you're going to learn here. So we've got a slew of new features in the system that you'll see, and then we're going to have show you a bunch of future features that are coming very soon. We're going to be talking about the pick list that we've added, auto-delete quotes. If you have quotes in your system, hey, there's a way to auto-delete those now. Also, you can skip signatures on the mobile checkout solution. We've enabled that. Transaction report, we've added another couple of columns we'll talk about that might help you. And then a charge customer utility, we'll go over that. There's a number of things there. Warehouse availability we've added Oracle and Do It Best, and we'll discuss that. We've already got other suppliers right now where we're actually doing a remote stock check, the RSC. You can see for True Value, we've updated this to happen nightly, and that's because of the constraints that we have with True Value. We would do it in real time if we could, but it is what it is for the time being. We've added some requests from ACE if you're an ACE hardware store, there's some things in here for you as well. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And by the way, if you have any questions, go ahead and fill in the questions in the question box at the bottom of the screen there, and I'll get to those at the end of the presentation. So this is 2021A, new features. These are out for the most part, except when we get into that future section. We do have 2021B that is now in beta testing. So it is out in the field. We just have, we'll be rolling it out in probably the next few weeks to a month or so. So to begin with, we have the pick list report. So if you do stored quotes and you convert those quotes to orders, you have an opportunity now to produce an Excel spreadsheet of what items, the balance of items that you have to supply. So in other words, if these are buy down quotes, that's what orders are essentially, they enable you to sell only certain parts of a quote, and then it stores the rest of it, and then you can continue buying that down until there's no more. Now, if you wish to get a list, you can just go to the invoice and quote, select the customer, recall a transaction, select the order, and that shows all your orders. And you can also select show for all customers to see all the customers. And anywhere there's a green checkbox, you see the green checkbox under the order column here. That tells you that it's an order. If it's in here and it doesn't have a green checkbox, it's a quote. So it hasn't yet been converted. So now if I want, just hit pick list, and what's going to happen is it will generate an Excel spreadsheet and down and break out every single quote and then or order. And then what it's going to show you on the right-hand side, it's going to show you the remaining balance. So if you had, 10 in your order and you've sold them 8 and there's only 2 more left, that's what it will show on the column J here on the spreadsheet. It's going to tell you what you have, the balance remaining. All right, so we'll continue on here. So automatically delete quotes. So if you have a lot of clutter in your system, a lot of quotes, people come in, they do quotes all day long, and eventually they'll start stacking up. You get 100, you get 200, you get 500. I've seen more stored quotes sitting in the system. And then eventually you'd need to go in by date range and you go, okay, let's take these out. They've been in here longer than 6 months, so let's get rid of them. Or a month or 2 months or whatever it might be. So now you can automatically have quotes be removed from your system. You just need to go under File, Setup, under the Invoice Stored tab, and look for the setting, Delete Stored Quotes After, and then you just put a number of days. If you set it to 0, which is the default, it will never delete quotes. Now, quotes are something that once you delete them, you cannot get them back. So you'll want to make sure that you think about this and set it to a date that you're comfortable with or a number of days. Typically 30, 60, 90 are good numbers to start with. But again, you don't have to participate in this. You can just say, you know what, I want every quote stored in my system. That's totally fine. But we do have a way to automate the deletion of those quotes if they're older than a certain number of days. All right, continuing on. So now we have an option to, you'll see on the, if you're using the mobile to checkout application on the Samsung tablet, that's that 8-inch tablet that we use where you can sell from your store from anywhere in the world in real time. And that works over a mobile connection or Wi-Fi. So now you have an opportunity to skip the signature. Before, the driver or somebody would have to sign and accept. There is no option here, but now there is. You can just click on the button, skip signature, if there's no signature to be had. This does require that you're on the mobile to checkout version 1.1.5 or later. In our current ones, actually 1.2.0. So if you are not on this update and you want this feature, definitely contact Paladin and we can upgrade your application. Moving on to transaction report includes rewards IDs. So the transaction report is chock full of a lot of different information. And now at the very end of the file, looks like columns U and on, we are adding a few more fields here. So if you have integrations with Volusion or Blue Tarp or other third-party vendors, and in this case also Rich Rewards, we create an alternate ID for customers that matches the ID for that customer on our partner systems. So now we're listing those out here so you can see those. If you happen to have Rich Rewards or a point of rental integration or Volusion or Blue Tarp or any one of those things, you will be able to see those rewards numbers as well as the type of integration. And that's associated with each customer on that transaction report. All right, moving on. Charge customer email utility. So what's this enable you to do? It enables you to send emails to your customers that are signed up for that are basically charge account customers, right? You're holding money for them, and they have a credit limit greater than 0. That's all it qualifies. That 0 could be a penny, but it has to be greater than 0. If you have customers in your system and you want to send your charge customers an email, you can do that. We now have the capability to do this. So from within the Paladin system, you just go to maintain. It's at the top of the file menus next to the word file. You'll see maintain. And then you go under utilities, customer utilities, and you hit email charge customers. Now, this is where you design and put in your content, what information you'd like to put in here. So you can put your content in here. So you can say, hey, don't miss our sale, or we're having a free tax day on such and such a day. So you can spam or email all of your customers in one fell swoop that are owned by you, meaning they have charge accounts. All right. So what else do we do? Well, we automatically add a message. That message is we put in the account person's name and their account number. And then we also add a little salutation that says, "Dear Mary Smith," in this case, the following message is from Paladin Hardware, meaning from whatever hardware store. Paladin's just a name that we put in there for a hardware store. And then the message that you created in the content on the slide before would show up beneath that. So just by clicking that, watch out, it's going to go out. And you're going to shoot emails out to all of your customers that have a credit limit greater than 0. So this has been a system for a while. And, you know, we're really excited to get this utility out there so that other stores can take advantage of this, and you don't have to take this information, send it to Constant Contact or some other emailing service. You can do it right within Paladin. All right. So returns. So certain people have privilege to return. You can return cash, return it as credit. You can return it on a credit card, however you want to do it, or a gift card. Now we have a permission that allows or disallows anybody to return any money. They can only return to charge account customers only, and only if they have a credit limit greater than 0. So it allows employees to refund as a return as a store credit using the charge payment type only. So you can't return cash, you can't write a check, you can't put it on a gift card. You can only do returns by adding it back to an existing charge account customer. All right, so that's in here if you guys want it. Had a couple of requests for it, so there you go. Warehouse stock on hand updates. So as you've probably been hearing and probably noticed in your own system, there's a button at the bottom of the screen now that says check inventory. All right, so that is going to enable you to peer into the warehouses of your primary suppliers. Now we are writing to the supplier's API or application programming interface, or accessing the information that they give to us to be able to deliver that information to our customers. So while you're creating an order, while you're looking in inventory, while you're in invoicing, you can just press that stock check and you can see what's in the warehouse at that time. Now in some cases it's real time, some cases it's updated nightly, other cases it's updated hourly, but this is going to give you sense when you're trying to figure out whether or not there's any in the warehouse to order. So it's a great tool. We've added Do It Best and Oracle recently. Ace and True Value are already in the system, already there. So once you begin this process, you'll be prompted with, where is your, what warehouse do you want to use? What is your warehouse? And what happens is, in the case of all these 4 vendors, when you first activate this, or it's automatically activated for you, but when you first go into and press that stock check button, it's going to come up and say, all right, you now have access to real-time warehouse stock quantities, right? So what warehouse are you? Is it Hurricane? Is it, Idaho, or where is it? So you just click on the drop-down and you pick it. And this is not optional. You do have to pick it, because it's going to associate that warehouse with where you get your orders. And there's some other advantages as well, which we'll talk about shortly. So warehouse stock on hand setup for Do It Best. So when you recall a PO, a notification automatically appears. Click Learn More for features and details. So you've probably seen this in the bottom of the screen. If you haven't, pay attention. It's a cool feature. So you can click on Learn More, and that tells you about Do It Best warehouse quantities. After this feature is set up, you can sort a PO by warehouse availability and view real-time warehouse item quantities on a PO. So it's a great solution, and any time you see a Learn More, we're starting to add them more and more in the system. Click on the link. It doesn't hurt. It just pops up another box and explains to you what it is that you're doing. So warehouse availability in PO mode. So when you're in the PO and you're ordering, you can, actually after you've created your order and you go to recall your order, so let's say you either ran a suggested order report, or took the RF gun and ordered, or you ran a PO from a replenishment report from stock history. On the bottom right-hand corner it says supplier stock check. If you check that box, it will automatically sort the PO, and it's going to bubble all the products that are not in the warehouse, or at least that from the last time it was checked, they are not in the warehouse. And then the second grouping will show you that it's partially available, and the third grouping will be all the stock that's available. So how cool is this? This is a great feature, especially during this time when your fill rates are so compromised and supply chains compromised. We never know what we're going to get. I was trying to buy some PVC this weekend. Everybody's out of everything I need. It's like my sprinkler job's just going to have to wait. Very frustrating, but this actually gets you kind of ahead of the game, where you can see where you might need to source these products that come up as supplier out of stock. So you can, maybe look for alternatives, methods of attaining that, whether you buy it from Amazon or get it from your local big box store. I mean, it's all, everybody for themselves, basically. So supplier out of stock is going to be your first grouping. Partial stock available. So if you ordered 20 and they only have 10, it will identify that and enable you to change those quantities as well. And then below that will be everything that, at least the last time that the warehouse was checked, stock was available. So it's very cool. So warehouse stock check for an inventory item. So when you're in inventory and you press that F7 stock check button, it's going to come up and say, hey, here's the store, here's the description of the item, here's the number of stock on hand they have. So this is going to tell you for every item, you can just press on stock check. And then you can do that not only in inventory or PO, but also at inventory, as well as the invoice and quote. All right, moving on. So ACE Rewards sign up. So for those ACE stores, there's all kinds of privacy laws now, right, that are being implemented in different states where we have to get permission, or in this case, ACE stores need to get permission when they join their rewards program. And this is all this is doing is saying, you know what, to join the ACE Rewards membership, you need to accept the terms and conditions. And it just pops up on the device. It says, after cashier clicks OK in the ACE Rewards new member sign up window, cashier sees waiting for the customer. The customer sees, hey, by tapping this, you agree to the ACE Rewards terms and condition and privacy policy. And that just covers everybody from a legal standpoint. And after they accept, then they need to sign, and everything's done. Now, in certain states that do not require this Privacy Act or have this restriction, at least in place today, you can turn this off. Just contact Paladin customer support. They can turn this off for you. Just takes a second. And any ACE stores out there that don't want this to interrupt their sales and their signing up of customers, you can turn it off. Again, ACE would prefer that you turn it on because eventually it's going to hit more than just the states it's in right now. So after the pad is signed, the cashier sees that it was signed and terms were accepted. All right? And if the terms were not accepted, then they cannot proceed with the sign up. That's just, if the customer declines it, then they're just not going to be able to join ACE Rewards. All right. One other piece for ACE that we've added recently is there's a protection plan. And the protection plan is going to come up in the way of an inventory item, and it's going to have a certain price attached to it. And it's a 3-year and 5-year protection plan. Now, anybody can do this. Just so happens that ACE is doing this. They're having us add these SKUs in automatically. So all these stores are just going to have these SKUs. And now when the customer buys online and they pick up in the store, it's going to go ahead and put this particular SKU number on that invoice, showing that they actually purchased the plan. Okay, that describes all the features that are currently out there that you should have access to today. If you have any questions or problems or issues, you can email me or talk to support. and we can help you with that. But let's look in. This is my favorite section, right? This shows all the features that are coming out soon. Now, beta stores and alpha stores may have some of these, but I just want to tell you that this just is good information. And actually, one of the things that I believe you have access to today that we are just now for the first time releasing to the general public, we have COD for deliveries. So now you don't have to take funding in the beginning. You can take it as the driver goes out and delivers. You can take a COD check or cash or however it must be, and then you just go back to the store and you fulfill that. So it enables you to take ordinary customers that don't have credit on file, they don't have a credit limit, and it enables them to order product and not pay for it until it arrives at their door or on their property. So the feature is available for two scenarios. One, when a customer has no store credit, like we just talked about, or if it is a charge account customer and they exceed their credit limit, then it's going to give them the capability to pay their own. Just really extends a huge advantage when you're doing deliveries. So when a customer has no store credit, when after the COD is activated, the feature is turned on, and you select scheduled delivery for a customer who does not have any credit, the charge payment item is available. That's interesting. So you first have to select scheduled delivery, and then that will highlight the charge button. And it's a temporary charge, so it takes a zero credit limit, and it basically you're extending them credit for just a little while until you receive payment at the time of delivery. So it really gives your customers an opportunity to wait till the product arrives before they pay. So what it looks like on the receipt, the receipt's going to say, hey, collect this amount of money on delivery. It's going to say it both in the top between some bold lines. It's going to say it again at the bottom underneath the delivery message. And it's just there's no ambiguity. Here's what needs to be paid when the product shows up. All right. Also, when you're taking payments, so what happens after the delivery truck comes back? They've got all these checks. You just walk in and you bring up that account, and you basically just do a account payment on that account, and it puts it right back in their account. They're still at a zero credit limit, but it enables you to fulfill and satisfy this. Now, if this doesn't get satisfied, the good news is it's still on the books. You cannot get away, and the customer will know that there is still an outstanding payment. So this is why we did this, so that you have a way to track this. If you're just storing information as a quote and then not charging them until they get back to the store, well, something could happen to that quote, right? In this case, there's full accountability. So it's a tremendous feature. So the other scenario that we talked about is when a customer exceeds their store credit. So what happens here? So what happens is another window comes up and it says, hey, the invoice charge amount's this amount. The credit limit will be exceeded by this amount. Do you want to just collect this amount on delivery? You have an opportunity to do this. Or you can decline that and just have a manager's override approve the temporary increase to their credit limit. And it's temporary because it doesn't change the credit limit. It just enables them to go over it. So when the customer exceeds the credit store limit, it's going to say the same thing on the receipt. It just says, hey, collect this amount at delivery, on delivery, and then when you get back, you just take it as a payment. Same as if they're a non-charge account customer. So next, so this is how you turn it on. So you just go into File Setup Delivery tab. There's a little button on the fourth item down that says Enable COD Deliveries. Do that. I would always restart Paladin just to be sure, and now it's enabled. Boom, done. All right, what else are we going to have coming up here? Well, the one I just showed you, the COD, you actually have that today. That is in the system. You should and can activate that. There's information and knowledge base on it, and you're welcome to try that. Now, this one isn't quite there yet, so I would have a little caution on this one. Not that it's going to hurt anything, but this one is an insufficient stock on hand message warning that pops up at invoice and quoting. This is a tremendous feature for a lot of the building material stores, lumber stores, and lumber yards that have all kinds of material out in the field, out in their parking lot or in the back lot that the cashier can't see. And they're not always looking at that number on the left-hand side here. The stock on hand is 5, on order 0. If you try to sell more than the 5 that's available, it's going to prompt you with this, right? It's going to say, hey, there's an insufficient stock on hand. Do you want to update the quantity to current stock on hand? Meaning, do you want to just update it? Let's say you ordered 10, there's only 5, then it'll update that quantity to 5. Or you can override it, and you can still sell it if you want. But this is a feature that it will not appear on non-inventory or dump SKUs, right? So dump SKUs will not be included in this. It's all items though, unless you go in and you set a location range. So the new feature for insufficient, the new update to insufficient stock on hand, enables you to put a location range that says, okay, only warn me if it's a yard order item and it's between this location ID and this location ID. It could be the same as your yard order IDs, right, where you have a specific number of or items that you want to print on a yard order that come from the yard. Well, this can be a whole new set of location codes, or it can mirror the location codes that you currently have for yard orders. It's great because why do you want to have this come up when a customer is bringing an in-store item, putting it on the counter, and the cashier scans it? You know, okay, it says you don't have any. Okay, well, I do have one. It's right here. I'm selling it. So we've enabled you to limit this annoying pop-up box to appear only if it falls within a specified location range. So great feature. Had a number of requests from this, particularly, as I mentioned, lumber and building material stores. So this is what you'll see on the updated version of the insufficient stock on hand warning. You're going to see a couple of different files here, or places, right? You have 2 boxes and then the location span. So you're going to see enable oversold warning, and then below that you're going to see filter oversold warning by yard order inventory location. And then you can put your location spans here. Again, they can match whatever you have on your yard orders, or you can have a different set of location ranges that's either more inclusive or less inclusive. Now, if you just see right now, you go here under File, Setup, Invoice Store tab, and you only enable oversold warning and not the filter oversold warning by yard order, don't check it. It's not quite ready for prime time yet. Wait till you see this where it comes up. And if you do check it, you're going to see that when you scan items at checkout, it's just going to blow by the warning. So there's been a couple of additions like this limited to location codes, which have greatly enhanced this feature. So you might want to just hold off for that. Okay. What else? Email purchase order to any address. So this is a cool one. So purchase orders, when you generate a purchase order, it gives you an option to produce a second copy after you've created your order and sent it. And it enables you to, get a duplicate, print it and fax it, or email it. Well, you click on email, it's going to come up in default to what was the address on file. And you can use that address on file, or you can manually enter new emails that can also be added. So there might be additional emails that you want to send to certain people for this particular order. You can now just go ahead and put that email in and send it off. Multi-store system, we have a receipt change. So at the receipt or on the receipt, it used to be where the QR code at the bottom, which by the way, everybody has this capability to put a QR code of your receipts. It's under the File Setup Forms tab. But in this case, multi-store, they had limitations where it had to be the same one for each store. Now it can be a different QR code for every store. And advanced lookup searches also include ACH data in your search. So if you happen to have ACH, or automated clearinghouse, which is the automatic checks where it scans the check and records the routing number and such. When you do a keyword search for advanced lookup all, it's now also going to include the fields that are on the ACH check settings. So we'll look up and see what's filled in these fields, and if it doesn't find it in the standard customer, it'll look for it on the ACH check side. And last but not least, we have a couple of changes to the GL summary. So there are new categories. So for rich rewards, we've broken that out now. We've had many customers request us to break out the coupons or the rich rewards coupons separate from other transactions, because they're, different people have different ways to account for these. So we've created on the setup tab under File Setup Accounting tab, we've now added these coupons issued and for both your asset account and your expense account. And now you can put in an account number to map that to for your integration with your financial systems. How it looks on the GL Summary report, and this is where you go to Maintain Data Viewer GL Summary. Again, these are back office functions. You can see the information that's going to be pushed up, and it pulls the rich rewards coupons to the very bottom, and it shows you your coupons issued expense, coupons issued assets. So we break it out for you. No longer do you have to figure out what was a rich rewards coupon and which wasn't. All right, which brings us to about 30 minutes in, which is about what I said it would take. You can learn more about this by searching the Paladin 2021-A release guide. There's a link down below, paladin.portal or portal.paladinpos.com/release-notes, and the rest of it, you can read it. And continuing on here, we have our next webinar, so I'll put in a quick plug for that. So our top 10 most overlooked features, we'll be doing this on June 1st, which is a Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So please stay tuned for that. And it is time for questions, and I'm looking at the question box, and I do see one here from here says, does the returns for charge account only an option? Does returns for the charge account only an option? It is the only option if you check that, yes. Then you can only make returns against an existing charge account customer that has credit limits greater than 0. So yes, that is the only option if you enable that. If not, don't enable it. It'll be just like it is today. You can give money back, give the check back, put it on a credit card or a gift card, or store credit. But in this case, it's only it only works for charge account customers. So in other words, I think the question is, can you apply the credit to a non-charge account customer as a store credit? And it doesn't look like it. It says charge account customers only. So normally you can apply store credit if this feature is not. And then with the COD charge, here's another question. Does that update the stock on hand? Cool. So it sets it, I believe it sets it as on hold. So it should pull it out of the, yes, absolutely. And it's not on hold. It does take stock on hand, because this is, for all intents and purposes, a completed invoice. So yes, it doesn't even put it in on hold. It just takes it out of stock on hand and looks at it as a sold product. So yes, it will take it out of stock on hand. All right, I want to make sure that we can enable that. Do we need support to turn on check stock on hand feature, or can we do it? Good news is it's automatic, Jeff. So if you go into purchase orders or click on that stock check feature, the very first time it's going to ask you what your warehouse is. Now, if you decline that somehow, then I believe we have to go in and set that. But the very first time you go to it or anybody touches it, I think it's going to hold you to that screen until you pick a warehouse. So very powerful feature. Definitely start using that. And again, when you pull up a purchase order, the bottom right-hand corner, look for that checkbox. I believe we're actually going to make that checkbox, we're going to enable it on by default so that it will split it up by what's in stock, what's not in stock. But for the time being, you'll have to check it until that's done. And if you don't want it, you just uncheck it. But who wouldn't want it? It's still going to respect your sort orders, which is kind of cool, in each respective group, that being, parts not in the warehouse, partial items in the warehouse, and then what's in the warehouse. So it's that's pretty cool. And I think hopefully that answered everybody's questions. Again, thank you so much for attending today. It's just been great that you're here, that you're willing and anxious to learn and eager to learn more about Paladin and how you can implement more features and get more efficiency in your store and help grow your store. We really appreciate it. This was a huge crowd today. This was probably by far one of our largest webinars. So I appreciate everybody's time today. I know you're busy. God bless you all so much, and thank you so much for attending. You've got all kinds of resources to tap into here on our portal site, on the web store, the retail science site. All of those are listed here for you. And I don't see any more questions, so I will be signing off, and I hope to bid you a great day. Take care.